Hey everybody, hello folkses. Let's see. So we're going a little bit late, like 4.5 hours late today, but that's okay. Time is an illusion. So, in case you didn't see the earlier post, hey Kit Kat, here comes my assistant to help me. Meow. Meow. I'm now doing readings at a local metaphysical store on every other Monday, and so my Monday mini readings are going to have to shift a little bit. And since today was the first day we kind of missed them, I wanted to do something. So I thought, I came home, I rested up a bit. I'm only going to do 3 cards instead of 6 because I am a little bit tired. Even if I didn't do a lot of actual readings today, just sitting there in the little room, waiting for clients can get kind of tiring. So I'm actually a little bit tired, but I thought, let's do 3 cards and see where we get. So, and that way I can leave you at least with something so it's not such a shock if you were expecting some cards today. So I figured it was only right. And if I'm babbling, it's just because, like I said, I'm kind of tired. But all right. So I'm just letting some sage to smudge my cards, clear the energy so they're fresh for you. So, so I didn't end up making an actual event for tonight, but this is what we're doing in case you haven't seen my mini medicine card readings. Normally, I pull 6 cards for people. And so your job is to choose a number. Normally, people would choose a number between 1 and 6 because I pull 6 cards. But tonight, I'm only going to do 3. So go ahead and choose a number between 1 and 3. And then I am going to shuffle the cards and pull 3 cards, and whichever one corresponds with the number you've chosen, that is your message for the week. And then next week, I plan on being our normal time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Pacific time, because next week, it's only every other week that I'm doing readings at the crescent moon. I might see if they'll let me do like maybe live from the moon. I can do a version of my mini readings from there or something. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. It's all in the air right now. So choose a number between 1 and 3. Let's shuffle them a little bit more. And then I will choose the 3 cards. And then I will tell you what those messages are. And if you want more than one message, go for it. You can have all the cards. So, okay, here we go. Thank you for joining in. I know it's not the normal time or energy. I'm a little pooped, but we have 3 cards. If number 1 was the number that you pulled, that you picked, I'm still a little ungrounded. I gotta ground. Number 1, if 1 was the number you picked, your card is Heron. Heron has been coming up a lot lately. In fact, yesterday I saw kind of two herons, but I think it was actually the same one. Flew over one way and then flew over the other way. Beautiful. They are so magnificent and graceful. And when they fly, they look like a pterodactyl or something. But if that's your card, if you chose number 1, then Blue Heron is the one bringing your message this week. And what Blue Heron medicine is about, it feels like Heron's been coming up a lot lately too, like in these. I swear that I've been talking about him for a while. But Blue Heron medicine is about stillness. So I know that we're in this really tumultuous time. Energy is all over the place. Energy up and down the spectrum, emotions up and down, twisty twirly. And so Heron comes with the wisdom of stillness. No matter what's happening in the world, no matter what storms are going on, no matter what it looks like other people are doing, saying, what other things are happening around you, it's time to let go of the outside world and turn inward. Turn to stillness. You can't calm the storm by running into the storm. You can't, like, this image of a tornado and like cows flying all over the place, and you're running into the tornado trying to grab the cows and staple them back to the ground or something. That doesn't work. The only way is to be the eye of the storm. You have to be the calm at the center, and that has so much power. When there's storms and there's people angry and threatening violence and all kinds of things, one of the biggest strengths you have is to be calm. In fact, my fiance, I noticed on her phone, she has like on the lock screen or whatever, calm is a superpower. So that's where Blue Heron comes in. Blue Heron isn't apart from the world. If you think about, that energy, like I was saying, the tumultuous, topsy-turvy energy, emotions, that's like the pond, the water. That water represents that tumultuousness. And so, Missy, you're distracting me. This is Kira. She's my assistant. And so Heron is actually in the pond. So he's not apart from it. He's not just observing. He's intimately connected to the pond, but he's standing on his two spindly legs, and he's standing in stillness, so he's not creating large wakes or ripples in the pond. He's sitting in stillness with very little, tiny little legs, so that the interference pattern, the wave patterns, are not going to be affected much by him. So by standing in the water, being raised above the water, he's still part of the pond, but he's above it. And so, and unaffecting not creating more waves. And so, to calm your world, you have to find your stillness. This is what I keep remembering saying. Alan Watts talks about you can't flatten waves with a flat iron. You just create more waves. The only way to calm the waters is to calm yourself. Move into stillness, and the waters naturally calm themselves. Now, that's just the first step. Once the water's calm, then Heron can, so part of Heron's medicine is self-reflection. Heron casts a shadow on the pond, and it's that the coolness of his shadow that draws the fish to him, and it's by looking into his reflection, self-reflection, looking into his shadow, that he's able to find those morsels that feed him. So there is nothing in your shadow. People talk about shadow work, and they treat it like there's like I keep flashing back to Star Trek episode, the original series, the Mirror. If anyone's a Trekkie, you know what I'm talking about. But there's an episode where Captain Kirk, because of the Enterprise in two different universes, mirror universes, kind of intersect, the Captain Kirks from each respective reality get displaced to the other one. And so our Captain Kirk from our world, our reality, ends up in the mirror reality, and the mirror one ends up in the other one. Is that the one I'm thinking about? Like I said, my brain's a little tired. But anyway, so the point is, I keep saying bad Kirk and good Kirk. And no, it wasn't that one. It was a whole nother one. There was like where Kirk's light and dark side got separated. So there were two Kirks running around. That's what it was. But the dark and light was still seen as good and evil. And so it was accepted that we all have a good part and we all have an evil part to us. That is not true. Not true, not true. The shadow is not evil. The shadow is the feminine, wild, untamable, creative force within you. And because it's wild and untamable, that's what, in our patriarchal society, that's the part of you that gets feared. We fear wild. We fear untamable. That's why all the misogyny is going on, because men fear women. Men fear, not all men, I'm like really generalizing, but like those in power in the patriarchy fear that creative, wild, untamable nature of women. They want to control women. So, but your shadow, that is that creative, indomitable source of creativity. So there is nothing evil about you. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing about you is inherently bad or evil. You are a divine being of light. And even your shadow is nothing but love. That is the only thing that exists in this universe. So don't be afraid. My point is, wow, I was just pulling 3 cards just because I tend to be verbose, and I was like, okay, I'll just do 3 cards and I'll be really short with all of them. Like, apparently not. Anyway, thank you for persevering through my ramblings. But anyway, so Heron brings you the courage to look at your shadow, to look into the darkness, knowing that there is nothing there to fear. And there might, and I'm not saying it's necessarily all rainbows and joy and cotton candy or anything like that, because the shadow is where kind of our disowned parts are. The parts that when we're being raised, we kind of close off energy to certain parts of ourselves because they're not acceptable in the world. Hey Deja, I'm only doing 3 cards tonight. So, you chose number 5, but we're only doing 3 tonight. So, Anyway, where was I? The shadow. So there is nothing wrong with you, but the shadow may contain certain concentrations of emotions like anger and trauma and grief and sadness, because there's parts of you, because we cut off our shadow, we try to live just in the light and we ignore our shadow. That's like that. There's parts of us that have been ignored and shunned and actively tried to like kill off part of ourselves in the shadow. So there might be, it is, what's the word I want to use? It is a journey. There is challenges to it. But when you remember that all things that, what do I want to say? We live in a friendly universe. You are nothing but divine love. Nothing about yourself can endanger yourself. There's nothing about you that you need to fear. So when you go with that mindset, when those emotions or those parts of you that come up that are angry because, you know, you took your inner child and put it in a cage for so long, you can look at that part of you and embrace it and say, I am so sorry. Or opening the cage, you are free. I want you to integrate back into me. I want to feel your wildness, your joy, your imagination, whatever it is. But we have to go into the shadow to really explore the depths of our power. I just got this thing. I don't know if this is true, but what they just told me is that part of that whole thing about how humans only use 10% of their brain is because we're so focused on the light, on what's seen, and we forget to connect to the unseen. And it's that trusting, it's that surrendering and letting go and not having to control things that opens our brain to that deeper energy, more creative energy that connects us to all things. Because your brain is not the creator of thought, is not a creator of energy. Your brain is a receiver and a transmitter. It receives energy and conducts energy. So by letting go of those really brittle walls and boxes that we put ourselves in, and allowing ourselves to breathe, by looking into the shadow, we can find those things that feed us even and make us even stronger. I hope that makes sense. I know that was kind of rambling and going around the house, but stillness and trust what comes when you are still. So like I would recommend meditation or some sort of, and it could be like Tai Chi or, meditation and movement, whatever. But we keep our brains so active because we're afraid of stillness, because it's when we are still that those things from the shadows rise up, and we're afraid to look them in the eyes because we're afraid that we're evil. We're afraid it's going to take us over and possess us or turn us evil. None of that is true. So when you're still in stillness, when you're meditating or whatever, your only job is to be the observer. When those feelings come up, when emotions come up, they are coming up because they are being released. You don't have to do anything with them. The shadow doesn't need you to do or fix anything. You've fixed it enough by trying to keep it in a box, right? So the best thing you can do is just sit back and acknowledge it. Like I always talk about, when I come face to face with my personal demons, whatever they are, my fears and things, that I like to invite them in for tea instead of being afraid of my demons and fighting them or running away from them. It's like, why don't you guys come on in for tea and sit down and let me sit with you for a while. And eventually, when you just sit with them and observe them, they have no more power because their only power comes from you. And so you just need to observe them, to acknowledge them and thank them. And then they just fade away. And then you gain the strength. You just opened a new portal, which, the dark is the connection to Creator, to Source, to the cosmic womb, right? So to trust that. Trust stillness. Trust that it's more important who you are, who you become, than anything you ever do. Who you are is more important and more powerful than anything you have ever done or anything you will ever do. Because you are not what you do. You are who you are. So, long answer for Blue Heron. I guess it's a good thing I did do just 3 cards tonight. All right, so number 2. If 2 is your number, we got a possum. A possum is the actor of the animal kingdom. Possum plays dead. And this has so many different layers of metaphor to it. Number 1, a possum recognizes that, just like Shakespeare said, the world's a stage and each of us plays a part. And these ego, flesh bodies, we are playing a role. This is not who we really are. I am not my feelings, I have feelings. I am not my thoughts, I have thoughts. I am not my body, I have a body. These bodies are just actors in a way. It's like the universe is, on some level, it is a dream. And if you go back to all the major spiritual thoughts and philosophies, it's like the world is a dream. The world is an illusion. It seems solid because of the rate that we vibrate at, but everything vibrates at a specific frequency. That's what makes something solid, and things like the air are like not. But everything is energy. And so who we really are, who you really are in your essence, is the creator of your reality. So whatever your life looks like, whatever is going on, whatever dramas are going on, this gives you at least that little bit of perspective to step back from your life and to watch it as if, watch your life as though it was a movie, or if it were a TV show or something like that. And I do that sometimes if I'm like not sure what to do, if I have a decision to make, or like, okay, why did this happen? I'm like, okay, if this were a TV show, or if they were making the movie of my life, if I was writing this, if I was the storyteller telling this story, what would I have happen next? Or, if this were the movie of my life, what would be the coolest thing I could choose right now? What would look the greatest on the big screen? Because you are the center of your reality, and everything around you is a reflection of what's going on the inside. And that's a lot more complex. I know that that's a very simplified version. I don't want to get into all the other dimensions of that whole thing. But on some level, the universe is an illusion. The universe is a play. We came here to play roles, to learn. And it's that forgetfulness when we come here that is actually intrinsic for us to be able to learn lessons. It's kind of like there's that one saying about Well, if God is all powerful and can do anything, can God create a rock that is too heavy for God to lift? Now, if God forgets that he's God, and we're not going to discuss gender at this point, but if God forgets that he's God, then yes, he can create a stone that is too large for him to lift. But as soon as he remembers that he's God and that he created the stone, then boom. So if we all came in here knowing that we were God, God is creator, then there wouldn't really be much of a point. And so it's that forgetfulness and the waking up to our power that is the lesson, that is why we are here. So when we can keep that perspective, that, and this isn't to invalidate what's going on in your life. It's not to invalidate reality, to say, oh, this is just an illusion, I don't have to pay attention to it. That's going to the whole other extreme. Because this world, because of where we vibrate, this world is real. You know, you can't just say, oh, that car's an illusion, so I can cross the street now, and boom, right? Unless you learn how to walk on water, you know, or at that place where you can, you know, phase your cellular makeup so that you can move through walls or something like that, then I wouldn't recommend, as much as you might believe and trust and know that you are divine, I would not walk in front of a car. So this world still has a place, it still has a reality. We don't deny the physics and the gravity of the situation. Thank you. But at the same time, we know that on some level it is a play, that it is a show, and we can detach that far from it to see it as a drama, so that we don't get caught into the drama. And you know, being raised on Disney films and Disney cartoons, you know, I tend to be optimistic, and I tend to be like, okay, that just happened. Okay, oh my God, that's horrible, but what's going to happen now? And it's like, there's always a way to redeem whatever happened. There's always the chance for redemption. There's always a way to create a better outcome because of whatever happened, you know? And so it's like looking at your life that way, where you're not totally boxed into this is all that's real. And I know what that feels like, because I went through about 10 years of extreme anxiety and panic attacks. And that was what it felt like, was this world was real. There was nothing else but this world. I knew there was more, but I couldn't, for the life of me, access it. My brain just kept running on overtime. This is all there is. And so it'd be like just this claustrophobic, itchy feeling of being trapped and not being able to get out. That is when possum energy medicine is in reverse, out of balance. You get trapped in the world. You start to believe that everything is literally what you see, that there's no unseen. Like I'm bringing in the other card. It's like the only thing that is true is what is seen. There's no trust in the unseen. But the seen world, like I said, the world reflects you, who you are on the inside. So the outside world is the effect, thoughts, and the inner knowing is the creator. It's the origin of the effects. So again, like being the stillness, being the eye of the storm, you have to change. You have to find where's the storm inside of me, and how do I calm that storm? And when you take care of that, the storm outside of you eventually calms. So know that you don't need to get caught into the drama of the world. There is always a happy ending. If there isn't a happy ending, we've just stopped the story too soon. There's always a happy ending. You are not trapped in the roles that you play. They are just roles. But who you are is so much more grand. Think about the actors who play all these different parts. Like Sean Connery, who just passed. He played James Bond, he played all these other roles, Highlander, he was Robin Hood in one, King Arthur in another. And if he got caught into believing that he was each of those characters, he would have gone insane. That's schizophrenia or multiple personalities, But he knows his true identity as Sean Connery. I'm Sean Connery playing Robin Hood. I'm Sean Connery playing James Bond. You are divinity. You are goddess playing. State your name. You are here playing a role. And if you believe in past lives, which I do, your soul is the actor, and you're playing this role in this current time. At the same time, you're playing someone else maybe in medieval times, someone else maybe in ancient times, playing someone else in the future on some other planet. But none of those individuals is who you truly are. And that is the whole purpose of this life, is to go beyond the characters we're playing, to find that essence of who we really are. Who is it that's acting? What else, Little Possum? There was something else you wanted to say. Oh, yes. So, knowing that your life is a drama, that your life is a story, is a movie, is a show, that gives you more power to improvise. You don't have to play the role. You don't have to read the script that someone handed you, because you are the writer of your own script. Everyone else are just periphery. Everyone else are just bit characters in your story. And so you can go off script. And by doing so, when you start to realize your power, to know that you are more than just this part, when you start to go off script, then everyone else is like, what page is he on? Where are they? And so they start looking through, and then they have to step up and be present in the moment and authentic and react from their heart rather than from what's written on the page. So by being authentic and not following the script, following expectations, you actually help other people to wake up to the fact that there are more choices than what's written in the script. Does that make sense? Okay, I just have to realize that this is going to take a while. I'm glad I just chose 3 cards. Another thing about a possum is the whole playing possum thing. Because you know that this is on some level just a dream, smoke and mirrors, an illusion, and you are creating the story. You are the storyteller of your own story. Everyone is the hero of their own story. Then that gives you more strength and courage to be able to say no. Playing possum is setting boundaries. As someone brings up something, wants to talk about something, and you're like, no, I'm not going there. No, I am not having that discussion. Or no, I can't go eat with you right now. I'm not feeling like I can. Whatever it is. But playing possum is that ability to say no, to really listen to yourself and what you need rather than what everybody else needs. So playing possum is a valid thing to say, no, I'm dead to that. I am not going there, and walking away. So that is possum. God, I could go on for hours and hours, I swear. All right, number 3, my friends. If you have come in late or wondering what's going on, I work with the medicine cards, which are cards with animal spirit guides on them. And I chose 3 cards. I'm on number 3 now. But if you came in, choose a number 1 through 3. And whichever card corresponds to the number you chose, that is your message for the week. And I will go back and do these again briefly at the end. So we are on number 3. Number 3 is our good old friend Coyote. If that is your card, then you need to laugh. In a nutshell, you need to laugh. You need to take things a little more lightly. Coyote will dog you. If you're taking things too serious, he will come and chase you, and he will continue to nip at your ankles until you trip. And it's not to be mean. It's not to make you feel stupid or bad or anything like that. I'm trying to decide if I want to go. Okay. Like all the protests, like the Black Lives Matter protests and these protests for equal rights and for women and for transgender and LGBT, all of those protests, it's to disrupt the normal routine of things because, like I was saying with Possum, everyone's reading the script. So they're like 3 or 4 pages ahead, and so they're not present. Coyote comes along to trip you up so that you're like, boom, and you're like, holy crap, what just happened? And to bring you into the present, to make you more aware of what's going on. And that is the function of the protests around the world, around the country. It's not to loot, it's not violence. It's to, hey, you're not listening, hey, you're not seeing. This is what's going on right now. And it's by that, it's not a mean-spirited thing. It's not to get even. It's not about vengeance. It's about being seen and heard. And so if you're not paying attention to yourself and your needs, and especially when you're taking things too seriously, forgetting that the world is an illusion, then Coyote is going to trip you up as a favor to help you become aware of where you are and what's going on. Coyote is the trickster. I had to look out the window, like there's a pine tree out there, and I swear the way the light was hitting it, it looked like snow, and I'm like, no, not ready yet. Anyway, so Coyote is about taking things lightly. I once had I went to someone for kind of a mentoring session, and he told me, he was like, Patrick, not everything is funny. And I paused for a moment, and I just broke out laughing, because yes, everything is funny. And without sounding insensitive or callous or anything like that, just the fact that we believe all of this is real on some level is a cosmic joke. And like, for instance, I had an aunt that died many years ago, and I tuned in to see how she was doing on the other side, make sure she was okay, make sure she made it to the light, all that kind of stuff. And she would not stop laughing. And like I did that like a half dozen times throughout the day. And every time I tuned into her, all I could do was hear her laughing. And she was like, oh my gosh, I don't believe that I believed any of that. How could I have possibly believed any of that? And she was just laughing outrageously. like when you die and you realize how unimportant these things are that we put so much importance on. It helped, like, we need to learn how to see things that way, see through the eyes of spirit. Like another person I knew used to talk about how everything's important, just not very much. You are the most important thing in your world. Like I said, who you are and who you become is more important than anything you've ever done or anything you will ever do. It's not about what you do that changes the world. It's who you become. That's one of Sandra Ingerman's best quotes. But so Coyote is not about tripping you up to make you feel stupid, to make you humble, to make you realize that you're crap. It's tripping you up to wake you up, you know, like thumping someone on the forehead. Hey, you're falling asleep, wake up, you know, and it's to like bring you to full realization. So the trickster, Coyote is the trickster. And the trickster's job is not to imprison you, it's to free you. It's kind of like, I'm not the biggest authority on tarot cards, but Coyote is kind of like the devil card, where the devil's up here and all scary and everything, and there's these two people that are, looks like they're chained to the stone, and the devil's gonna get them, but they're so focused on the devil that they don't notice that the chains are free. The chains aren't connected to anything. That's what Coyote does. He comes along to free you, to show you that you hold the key to whatever is troubling you. And, you know, I keep hearing that old joke about how do angels fly? Because they take themselves so lightly. It's kind of like, what baggage are we carrying? What baggage are you carrying that is weighing you down? What is like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, feels like a ton of bricks on your chest so you can't breathe, you know, and you just feel so tight. What are you holding on to so tight that is making you unable to breathe, unable to act, unable to move? Whatever it is, you don't need it. Our souls, I heard this analogy years and years ago, and every time I use it, someone's like, oh my God, that's so true. Your soul is like a beach ball. If you're holding a beach ball under the water, it takes more and more effort to hold it down under the water, because the beach ball naturally wants to fly up and boom, come out of the water. That's your soul. Your soul naturally wants to rise. Your soul, you are already high frequency, high vibration. You're already whole. And it's just these illusions and fears and things, attachments that we hold on to in this world, thinking we're keeping ourselves safe, but it's those same things that are tying us down to the world and not allowing us to be the expression of our true authentic selves. So whatever is weighing you down, let it go. You are so much greater than anything you can ever fear. Anything that happens, you are so much greater than anything that happens. So it's kind of like Coyote comes along to say, lighten up, you know, and it's like Wile E. Coyote getting trapped in his own traps and tripping over his own tail. It's like, if that's happening to you, that's the universe telling you to slow down. It's okay. Stand down. It's not as serious as you think it is. And if you're not careful, you're going to run into the cliff thinking that there's a tunnel ahead because it's painted on the wall of the cliff, and you won't be able to tell real from unreal, right? So laugh. You know, and there's something like in my shamanic classes, I teach people, like when they're first meeting a spirit guide, that one of the ways you can kind of double check and make sure that your guide is of a higher vibration is to ask them to tell you a joke. Because if they have a sense of humor, chances are they are of a higher vibration because they don't have an agenda. They're not trying to get something from you, get power over you to get someplace else. They only have your best interest at heart. They're like accepting you where you are. And so they have that space for a sense of humor. And, you know, humor and enlightenment just go totally hand in hand. And I always use the example of the Dalai Lama, who is probably the most enlightened being on the planet that I know of. And yet he can't go for 5 minutes without laughing. He has these serious talks all over the world with world leaders and trying to solve these problems and help heal the earth and heal all these challenges of hunger and everything. And yet he can't go 5 minutes without laughing. Those things are not exclusive. What is mutually exclusive? They actually are part of the same weave. You can be serious and yet lighthearted. Don't forget that you are the actor who's giving life to this form. So lighten up. Go watch. My default setting is Whose Line Is It Anyway? If I get too depressed or overwhelmed or too tight or too serious, I go and I just start watching Whose Line Is It Anyway episodes, because I'm guaranteed at least one good belly laugh every episode. And I don't remember the exact quotes, but laughing really is the best medicine. Laughing, it floods your system with all kinds of good endorphins and healing things. And it's like it undoes all these things. I wish I had the details in front of me, but being joyful is part of the journey. You're meant to have fun. You're meant to be joyful. You might have serious challenges, and you might have times when you don't know how the heck you're going to survive something. But I wish I could do, okay, I'm just going to ramble for like a long time, but anyway, thank you for your perseverance of sticking with me. If you're still here, there's this exercise I do with my classes, talking, and it's kind of along the idea of kinesiology, where if you're holding something that's good for you, your muscle, you can't push down on your muscles. Like, anyway, you can look up kinesiology to find out what it is. But there's this thing I learned from Martha Beck about when you have two people, you have one person hold their hands like this, and then you have the other person on the other, like facing them with their hands on the outside of that other person's hands. And then you say go, and the person on the inside tries to push their hands out, and the person on the outside tries to push their hands in. So you do that once without any promptings, just to kind of get the baseline. And then you do it again, but the person, let's see, I always have to remember which one. The person with the hands on the outside, before I say go, I have them take a moment to think about something they love, like a pet or their grandma or chocolate or whatever it is that raises their spirits, that makes them happy. And then I say go, and then they're like, phew, because there's usually that struggle, the hands are like during the first part. And when I do the second one, it's like you hear this, because everyone like that has that thought of something they love. It empowers you. It makes the energy flow through you. It strengthens you. It makes you healthier. That's what we're talking about. It's like being light-hearted, being joyful in the face of tragedy is so much stronger. It's so much better for your health. And I think even the medical profession is starting to realize this, that, you know, when like the medical establishment is starting to recommend things like yoga and meditation and things to find calm and joy, it's kind of like they're starting to wake up to that too. But it's like the more you follow your joy, the more you do that brings you joy, that brings humor, that brings laughter, the stronger you are, the more authentic you are, the more courageous you can be, because you can, it helps to put things in perspective. It just clears all systems. It's like a reboot for your body, a reboot for your brain. So go watch Whose Line Is It Anyway, or whatever other show that makes you laugh. All right. We'll go over quickly. The 3 cards that I pulled tonight, if you chose number 1, it was Blue Heron. Heron is about stillness. Like I just mentioned, meditation or yoga or something like that. You can't calm the storm out there, but you can calm yourself. And when you calm yourself, I think about that old commercial for Dawn dishwashing soap, where Dawn, it takes grease out of the way, and they dropped just a single drop of Dawn into the sink full of grease, and the grease just goes. That's how you become the eye of the storm, and you change. Your calmness moves outward, ripples out to calm all the energy around you. And I can go so much deeper into that, but I don't have time right now, because I'm getting tired and I need to go to bed soon. Anyway, so number 2, if 2 was your number, you have a possum. A possum is here to help you remember who you truly are, and so not get caught into the dramas of the world. Like, be aware of your own presence, your own power, so that you can't be swayed, say, by guilt or shame. Someone can't guilt you into doing something, because you're not going to get caught into their drama, right? Because you recognize that we are all actors. We're equal. There's nobody in charge. And we're all heroes of our own story. And so by being the most authentic self that you can be, and looking at your life as an adventure, and writing this story as you live your life, I don't know, it just, even just saying it that way, it's like your life becomes so much more rich. Even if it turned out that everything I'm saying is gobbledygook and not true and it's all false, just living your life as if it were an adventure, looking at life as though it were a movie, it enriches your life more than I can even tell you. It brings out the joy. It helps to lighten the load. To know that you're not responsible for everybody else's drama. You can lend an ear and you can listen to others and give advice to others, but you're not in charge of anyone else, because they're the heroes of their own story. You might be the star of your story, but you're only a periphery character. What word am I looking for? Extra. You're like an extra or a supporting character in their script. And so you have to be the authentic person you are in order to contribute the most to their hero story. You can't save anyone else. You can only take care of yourself. I hope that makes sense, because that's all the further I'm going with that right now. And finally, 3 is Coyote. Coyote is the trickster. Coyote is tripping you up to get you to pay attention, usually to slow down, to take a look at what's really going on, take a look at how you are affecting. If there's things falling apart in your life, instead of blaming everyone else, looking at what you're doing to create those things, seeing the whole story, instead of keep falling into your own trap, tripping over your own tail and blaming someone else for pushing you. Realizing that maybe your ego got in the way, your head got a little big, so you got top heavy and fell over. It's not about being mean. It's not about making you feel like crap or lower than anyone else. It's about waking you up, disrupting that routine, that hypnosis of routine that we get caught in, and coming back aware to this moment. And laughing. Everything, there was another quote, I can't remember who said it. Dang it. But basically, everything is funny if you look at it from the right angle. Everything is funny. So remember my aunt who died and couldn't stop laughing for an entire day because she couldn't believe that she believed what she believed when she was human, you know? When you get to the other side, then your perspective totally changes. And that's what Coyote is trying to do, to help wake you up to that higher perspective and to see that you hold the key to those things that are chaining you down. Okay? Whew. All right. That was like an hour long. Normally I do 6 cards. It took me an hour to do 3, so we would have been here for another hour if I'd actually done 6 cards like I normally do. So you're welcome. And thank you. Thank you for listening. Like I said, I normally do this at Mondays at 3, but I have another commitment on Mondays, every other Monday. So I'm not sure how I'm going to move forward, but I wanted to at least do a little bit today because I know some of you watch every week and, you know, need that little bit of guidance. You know, look forward to that little pick-me-up at the beginning of the week to help carry you through. So I wanted to do at least something. And maybe this is kind of what will be in the future, like on the Mondays that I have my reading job all day. I'll maybe do this in the evening, like an hour, just a shortened version. And then coming up this coming Monday, I will... I plan on doing my regular one with 6 cards at 3 p.m. So join me then. And if you can't join me, just like this one, I'm going to post this to my Facebook page so you can watch it later. If later in the week you need a little more guidance or whatever, choose a different number and rewatch the video and see what you get then. But so please come and join me next week. And I thank you so much for joining me on this kind of impromptu miniature reading. I so appreciate all of you for watching. And I hope that it is helpful for you. Know that these are weird times we're in. And especially like tonight and tomorrow night and the next little while is probably going to be really funky. But I am here to support you. My job is to empower you, to do what I can to empower you, and to help see that light through the darkness, to see at least a little bit like the next breadcrumb in the darkness. So that at least you have direction, at least you have a motion, a direction to go in. But I'm here to help you out in any way I can. Feel free to check out my website at perchingwolfstudios.net to see what kind of things that I offer. I do soul retrievals, other shamanic healing, fairy doctoring, space clearing, readings, of course. If you like this and you want a complete reading for yourself, please check me out and we'll make that happen. I would love nothing more. And then keep posted here. I think I'm going to do a sacred pipe ceremony tomorrow night, but I haven't figured out the details yet, but just kind of as a pre-election, holding space for the best outcome for all people. I'm thinking about doing an online sacred pipe ceremony. And then I'm going to do my normal one Wednesday night. Every Wednesday at 7, I do a sacred pipe ceremony online for kind of a prayer circle for people to connect and to gather their energy and their intention and send them to Great Spirit, to Creator, for the highest good of all. So join me for those if that resonates with you. And otherwise, I hope to see you next Monday or before if you decide you want a reading or something like that. Now I need to go take a drink of water or something. But thank you so much. Know that I love you and that I honor you and that I support you. And you're perfect the way you are. You really are. There is nothing wrong with you. You are so loved. The universe does not have judgment. It truly is unconditional love. And that is who you are, and you deserve every bit of that. So take it easy, especially these next few days that are going to be ups and downs. Just try to stay that eye of the storm. Find your inner stillness, knowing that there is always a completely harmonious solution, that things always work out for the best. And so until next week, my friends, go shining.